Welcome to the Bladtcast. Very excited now because for those of you who are watching the video version on our YouTube channel, you see already that I am joined by two guests. Both of them are here to not only rock and roll all night, but also party every day. Making a triumphant return to the Bladtcast, Jason Lee Beckwith, who is the Catman in Kissed Alive. Good to see you again, Jason.
And I have all of my whiskers today.
That's great. I know it's going to be tough.
Glorious Corona beard.
It's going to be tough to get the face makeup over it, but if you put enough of it on, it'll be all right. It's like how in the old Batman series, Cesar Romero would never shave his mustache, so they would just put the Joker makeup on top of it. So if you get enough of the makeup, it'll be fine. And also joining us is Vinny from Kissed Alive, who you've both been in things that I filmed for it. God, it was 2 years ago now at the comic convention out in Ontario that we filmed some stuff. And
time flies.
I believe that was fun. Comic Revolution.
Yes, Comic Revolution. That was the name of it. And
that was great.
I know. I was thinking. I was like, oh, that was last year, and I'm like, nope, that was 2 years ago.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, but there's look, I can talk Kiss by myself. I try to only do it about once a year because you try to mix up what you talk about, and it's not everybody's thing. But
Sure.
I wanted to
try to only talk to yourself once a year, or talk to yourself about Kiss once a year.
No. I usually try to drag other people into it. Is the point? Yeah, but I try to talk
to myself all the time. I'm fine with it. He's a great guy. I hang out with him all the time.
Oh yeah, it's true.
He doesn't always agree with me, which is funny, but whatever.
It's me's the guy that I'd like to really get some social distance from, but I just won't let him.
Hey.
So there's a very exciting thing happening on Friday night, which is May 22nd. At 7:30 p.m. Pacific, and that's 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And if you really want to do all your time differences, that's 11:30 for people in Newfoundland. But let's just stick with 7:30.
Rocks. Kiss will rock the planet.
You guys are doing another show on Facebook Live, and it was when did you do the last one? I look, Corona time is different than real time. Time does not flow in a linear manner anymore. We're all time travel.
It was March 4th, something like that, right, Jason?
It was the first night of the stay-at-home order in California State. Is the very first night. We had already scheduled and we were going to do it anyway, but then it kind of became more urgent, I think. And honestly, the response kind of blew us away. Yeah, it was the first night of the stay-at-home order. Fortunately, one of the guys has a studio at his house, and we outfitted it Kissed Alive style, and we held court for about 90 minutes on Facebook Live, and we got over 20,000 views on that video, and it was spread out over 4 continents. We had people from South Africa. What's up? What's up, guys down there? I got some very good family friends down there. And then what else? Rock and roll Bolivia and Peru and Brazil.
Mexico.
There was Italy. It was pretty crazy. It was a lot of fun. Reading through the comments is like taking a quick trip around the globe. I was very surprised, and it was very cool. So obviously that got our attention. That was, more viewed than anything else that we had ever done up to this point, right, Benny?
That's right. It was even Canada, eh?
Oh, hey, go out and about to see Kissed Alive. No, you stay home and see Kissed Alive, eh?
And your jammies.
No, it was a lot of fun, Christian, obviously. And, literally, I mean, that's a drop in the bucket when you compare things to what some people do or what goes viral or whatever. But for a little tribute band, it was pretty cool, seeing people from Italy chime in what we were doing, knowing that people down in Bolivia were watching what we were doing, it was really cool, man. And so obviously the thought very quickly turned to, well, how do we do this again? How do we do it and it makes sense? But I think very quickly we also all felt that it's not just going to be the same thing. So we have to bring something more to the table, where last time it was kind of a, can we do it, and we did it. So this time, we were supposed to play Campland on the Bay in Mission Bay. We've played there a couple of years, or a couple times a year for the last several years now. They're like family. It's almost like our hometown team, and matter of fact, it's where I had a heart attack on stage one night, but I don't want to digress. Those guys we were supposed to play there, and obviously that's not going to happen. That wouldn't be safe. Even if it was allowed, it wouldn't be safe. And
sure, yeah.
I don't want to put anybody at risk. I don't want to put myself at risk. Why would it's? So we thought, well, that's a good date to do the second one. When we got the official red light, we decided, all right, that should be the night for the next one. And so we thought, well, how can we shake things up? Well, first of all, we got to add in new songs. So that night we're going to perform, I believe, at least 3 songs that we've never performed live before, or at least not with this lineup or not in a long time. I think there's one of them that, Vinny, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's one of them, I believe the second song in the third set is going to be a song that we tried once before with our early lineup.
I haven't seen the set.
Oh, okay. Well, it's kings and queens, and it references one of them anyways, right? So
okay, I understand.
Yeah, I think we've done that before, but I don't think anyone really that's watching what we're doing right now has ever seen us do some of these songs. So and it takes its trip around the band. There's a new one on deck for everybody, just about, or 3 out of 4 anyway. So that's the first thing. We're going to have some new material thrown into the set list. And then we're going to shake up the format. Okay, we're going to do 3 30-minute sets and then some, at least 30 minutes. I've seen the set lists, and they're going to be stretching that 30 minutes. But we're going to do 3 sets, and set 2 is going to be an unplugged acoustic set.
Well, that's very cool because I'm a big fan.
You are the first to hear that, Christian.
Well, there you go, and we're breaking the news here. If I had any kind of sound effects, I'd hit them, but I don't. I mean, if you can see me, I'm in this back room in my garage with.
And you got files behind you.
He's got the files, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to go down on your permanent record, and it's going to be stored on the Bladtcast files.
The files are actually comic books, and I grabbed this one out specifically to show off to you guys.
Good choice.
The rock and roll comics. This is from like about 30 years ago, I think. This is the Kiss one. There's some others, but. Yeah, so that this is like the one quiet place in my house where if my kids are awake, I can get down here, and if they're sleeping,
I love that comic book, man. We used to do for several years in a row. We have a good friend who owns a comic book store, and now he doesn't have a storefront anymore, but he does like comic book shows and Comic Cons and things like that, and he always has a booth there. So he travels basically. He's a road.
Sure.
The family does it, and they're. It's like a traveling band. It's pretty rad. But it's called Superheroes in Training.
Yeah.
Superheroes in Training. And then you put the 4 letters together.
Yeah, you put those letters together. And
it's just a hey show. But no, and his name is Mike Marty. And it's Superheroes in Training. Find them at your next Comic Con.
Yeah,
they supported us a lot in our early days. We used to play in their parking lot.
Yeah, once conventions start happening again, then you can.
Hey, you know what, though? I know that they have an online thing going on, too. I'm sure of it. So somebody's just got to find their Facebook or their .com, do some Googling, and check it out. Or at least go say hi to Mike Marte, M-A-R-T-E. He's a rad dude. They've got they're big Kiss supporters. I think the last time,
he and his wife.
Can I tell you this story? The last time we did a parking lot gig for Mr. Mike at Superheroes in Training comic book store, Gene Simmons was doing a call-in on speakerphone. And you remember that, Vinny?
I do remember, yes.
And so we were, hanging out and playing, I think, a few sets and hanging out in the parking lot. And we were eating and having fun and hanging out with kids and stuff and taking photos. And then there was time for the phone call. So the band the store, the staff, the owner, Mike, and then we all went down to the back room. They put it on speakerphone. It was originally, I think, Gene was going to come by. And then I think it was, he's not going to come by, but he'll call. So he ended up calling. He called in, and we were on the phone with him for about 15 minutes, I think. Yeah. He was actually pretty cool, and talked to us for a while. And I was half expecting, hey, Gene, we got these guys here, and they're in a tribute band. Hey, say hi, guys. And when we said hi, I was half expecting, gentlemen, where's my check?
Yeah, except you were going to hear the cash register sound.
They are very, and I'm not saying anything. I'm saying they are very business savvy, and
sure.
I'm humbled that we don't make enough money to be on anybody's radar screen. We're just four guys having fun, spreading Kiss love and flying the Kiss flag until they can come around, man.
We should ask them for money. We're marketing for them.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And look, there's a lot of Kiss tribute bands out there, and they're pretty cool about it right up until the point where they do really retire, and then there's only one official Kiss tribute band. Then they're probably not going to be so cool about it. But
tighten up the brand.
Yeah, but right now
there's a postscript on that story.
Okay.
On the way home, and we took our, we've got a lighted Kiss sign. It's not lit right now, but we have with 241 light bulbs. I know because there was a time where we used to have to take the light bulbs in and out before every show. That was a drag.
Wow.
But I digress. Anyways, on the way home from that, show, and it was a great day and everything, and we're going low profile. It's literally like 15 minutes from where I live. So I took the sign and I zip tied it to the roof rack of my, what was I driving then? A taxi cab yellow Nissan Xterra.
That's what it was. Yeah, Nissan.
Zip tied it to the roof rack and headed out on Highway 78.
Right.
And as I'm driving, I hear pop.
Yeah.
Pop. I thought it was backfired or somebody was shooting at me. What it was one by one, there was a little air coming under the front of the sign. I thought it would be okay because there's holes in it,
Sure.
Didn't have the bulbs in it, so there's a lot of air holes, I thought. Mm-hmm. I was wrong.
Right.
So one by one, the zip ties pop off, and then it just lifts up off my car, and away it goes.
Oh.
And it fell face down on the third lane of the 78 freeway in San Marcos, California.
Wow.
Right. This is not where the story ends. I played Human Frogger master level. I got out of my car on the shoulder, and I went out in the third lane of that freeway, and I got my sign back. I did.
Right.
Now it's got pock marks. You can't see it, but there's pock marks all over the surface of it from the gravel on the freeway and cars running over it.
Right.
But I got my sign back.
It's customized. It's got
children. Don't do this at home.
Yeah, I didn't expect that story to end with the sign behind you being the sign from that story. I just expected.
Yes, it is. That's the sign.
It keeps on giving.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. That sign is with us. It's got battle scars. It's tested. It's rode hard.
I had the opportunity to meet Gene last fall. He was doing an interview, a TV interview with my boss Dennis Miller. I do a podcast with him, but he also does.
Big Dennis Miller fan. I've been a fan of his since Saturday Night Live. Man, that guy's one of a kind, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
Comedy is that he doesn't dumb it down for people.
Yeah, I've been a much bigger fan of his ever since he started paying me, but I liked him before that too. But and so
I'd be a great fan if you
he interviewed Gene, and afterwards I asked Gene to take a picture, and it was, I don't do that a lot, but I make exceptions for members of KISS. Even if Vinnie Vincent had been there, I would have asked for a picture. But I asked Gene, and it was so funny because he just, so we stand there. It's awkward to just stand there with a grown man and take another picture. So he just says, "Don't grab my ass." And, so of course I'm laughing in the picture, and it was perfect.
Dude, I can relate. I swear I can relate.
So, but that's very cool that he called in.
Now, we always have to spend like at least a half hour, 45 minutes. And it's not, any labor at all. It's something we love to do. But obviously, because of the makeup and the nature of our show, not because of who we are, but because of our makeup and stuff, people like to take photos with us and stuff. You've seen how it is. And so obviously we want to hang out and give them that experience because that's who we are as fans. If we go to a Kiss show, I'd be stoked if one of those guys would take my photo. And so, if you're going to see a band, I get it, and so we want to respect that. So we hang out and do that. But, invariably, I'd say every third or fourth show, somebody's taking the photo and they reach down and try and grab a handful of your behind. And I'm not saying that's limited to any gender specifically, Everybody apparently wants to show the love. So, I can totally relate to Gene just getting it out. You know what? Let's just get this out right in the open. Hey, don't grab my ass, Christian.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's really what it was that he didn't want me doing it. It depends on who's taking the picture as to whether or not he's
Well, there's that. I mean, if my wife is standing next to me, go ahead and grab my ass. That's fine, But if it's Gus from the factory, dude, keep your hands to yourself.
Gus.
So the last show that you guys did, you were talking about it, 20,000 people or so watched it. I shared it in a few places, a few Kiss forums and things, and there were a lot of people who kind of jumped in.
I appreciate that.
And sure, happy to do it. And during the live chat, I'm going to do it again.
Vinny?
One.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I mentioned, and I just, while the show was going on, I asked, who is, because there's a very popular Kiss podcast called Three Sides of the Coin, and I put it on.
Oh yeah, I watched that. I checked that out a lot.
Yeah, and I asked, like, how many people saw the post, and a whole bunch of them were like, oh yeah, that's why I'm here, because they knew about it. So I was like, all right, so I was able to help, and I also tried to encourage people because the day after, you're able to tip the band, and look, it wasn't.
Here's a tip: don't play in traffic.
There's that too, but my donation split 4 ways wasn't really going to be that much, but the idea was if enough people do it, because you guys perform for free.
Hey man, you know what?
We're
lucky to just be able to do it. Honestly, the things that some of us have been through personally, and just to be able to play to, I was just watching before I came on here. Once in a great while, if you're an athlete, you watch game footage and fine-tune things going forward. So every now and then, I'm sure, Vinny, it's the same thing for you. I'll watch some of our YouTube footage and I'll go, okay, that was good, that worked, but that I think I'll do different. And I was watching the show. I think we were playing with our good friends in the band Maiden USA. They're an Iron Maiden tribute, and they're phenomenal. A guy named Chris Kelly sings for them.
Yeah.
I think Nikki Taylor is the drummer, or used to be. And they're just an awesome band. And it was the new House of Blues in Anaheim.
Yeah, I was at that show.
Yes. And I was watching some footage from that, and man, that was a great crowd that night. That place was packed full, and it was awesome. And I'm just watching it, and it's a lot of fun. We're lucky, I mean, we're lucky to be able to do this, so we just don't take it for granted, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that the opportunity to get up and look, being in a tribute band of any kind is fun. I just feel like getting to be part of a Kiss tribute band, there's these added layers of spectacle and things, and you get to do the makeup, and then if you don't do the makeup, then people are like, all right, so it's an 80s Kiss.
Well, you know what? Hey, unless you're Chris Jericho, then you know what?
Well,
if you've seen Chris Jericho in person, you'd know that he's not a small man. And if he wants to do a Kiss show in no makeup, I'm not going to tell him no. You can tell him no. I'm not going to tell him no.
Well, and he started doing this thing, and I think he's calling it quarantine or something. He literally just started doing it.
Dude, I hope he comes and watches what we're doing, man. I put an open invite out. Chris, come and sit in. Dude, I don't care how. We'll figure it out. We'll Zoom it in. We'll Skype it in. You come to my house, reach out personally. Chris, come to the studio and join us, man. We're in California. So are you, whatever, dude. I love what that guy's doing. He's large. I'm not going to tell him no.
Yeah, well, specifically, what he's doing is like obscure 80s Kiss songs, like the No, I think is the one that's out there right now.
You just do one with Bruce?
Yeah, and Bruce I think played a little on it too. So
I'm a huge Bruce Kulick fan.
Yeah, well, Bruce Kulick was, I mean, the first time so Kiss was the second concert I ever went to in 1990. So I saw Bruce Kulick at that show.
Animalized Live is the first time I ever saw Kiss. The tour that he wasn't supposed to be playing.
Right. The show that was the tour that Mark St. John did like 1.5 shows, and then they realized his condition, he wasn't going to be able to tour.
Right.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, and I always thought Bruce was great, and he does a lot of cool stuff on Facebook too. A lot of like playing riffs and kind of talking about his time in Kiss, and it's like he's been out of Kiss for 25 years now. He's actually been out. He's got his.
It's nice though. He's kind of like circling back around. He's still, I think, the guitar player in Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah, that's what he does. But I get he still does stuff. He'll do shows like on the Kiss Cruise and stuff like that.
Conventions and stuff. Dude, I love that stuff he did with his brother, man. That sounded great.
Yeah. So, and I think that, there's so much fun Kiss music that the actual Kiss doesn't play these days. So I know that when you guys did your last show, there were a lot of people that myself and one of my regular co-hosts, Will Sterling, very excited that you guys did the song Almost Human, which I don't think I've ever seen Kiss, even in a bootleg. I don't think I've ever seen them do it live. So that was cool.
I can tell you one time.
Okay.
On, I believe, last year or the year before on the Kiss Cruise, they did it finally, and there is footage. So if you Google it up, Kiss Almost Human live, you'll see that footage. And actually, it sounded really good with Eric Singer playing it on the drums, man. And it was very cool to hear them play it,
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing about the Kiss Cruise too, and it's never been in my price range to go on the Kiss Cruise. But they'll do stuff like, obviously your normal Kiss show always ends with Rock and Roll All Night. But then I think 2 Kiss Cruises ago, after Rock and Roll All Night, then they played the song I from Music from the Elder as like, just to have everybody lose their mind, because you're not going to do that if you're playing at Staples Center or Petco Park or something like that. But if you're playing for people who like Kiss so much that they're spending, I don't know what it is, $10,000 to go on the Kiss Cruise, whatever it is, then you can end the show with just a real rare.
Is that what it cost?
I'm guessing. I actually don't know what it costs to go. I just know it's not worth looking up what it costs, because.
Have you been on one of those?
No. My wife would kill me if I even tried to go. It's just more like
sea legs to go on a creek.
Yeah, I mean, there's other vacations that you can spend that kind of money on. I think.
In all seriousness, one time Kiss Alive should play the Kiss Cruise, honestly. And when they bring it back next year, I'm saying here and now, the Kiss Alive would like to play on that boat on that cruise. I believe it's going to be the 10th cruise. They had to put it off this year. So I think they should bring Kiss Alive out. One time we should play it. If we're going to play a cruise ship, that should be the one time.
Yeah, and I mean,
coronavirus free though.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. I mean, look, I think that was why they had to.
I got my antibodies in December when my whole family got a quick dose of the flu.
Well, there you go. And, look, there's, cruise ships are not going to be very popular for a little while. I think that they can hope that would be like next October, November.
I'll tell you what, they can sanitize the cruise ship. Okay. Hear me out, Vinny. I think you're going to like this. Okay. They'll sanitize the ship down, and you got a bare bones crew, right? Mm-hmm. And then we'll play to an empty ship, and then people at home can get in their bathtub, their jacuzzi, or their pool and watch it on their phones. What do you think?
Perfect.
Just like they're on the ship. Right. I get it.
And it'll only cost them $1,000 a piece.
What, such a deal.
Yeah,
what a bargain.
That's a steal.
We'll turn the camera around every now and then to show them that we're really in the ocean.
Yeah, we're really there. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the coronavirus curtailing performances, you mentioned that you guys are supposed to be performing at Campland, and that's kind of why you have this night coming up on Friday, which is May 22nd. Right. So obviously at some point, you get the feeling that concerts will be able to happen again. But when
I got to say something about this Friday night, Christian.
Go ahead.
when we first started talking about it, right from the get-go, we had dialogue with Campland themselves. And honestly, I really got to give a shout out to everybody out there at Campland. You know, we've had a relationship that spans years. And when they came to me and said that, you know, we're not going to be able to have this show, I said, well, then what can we do about it? You know, so very quickly we both decided that the show must go on. And so they got involved as a sponsor of this show. I really do got to give a shout out to those guys and encourage everybody, like when we're allowed to go camping again, or if you're in Southern California and you're going to choose somewhere to camp or to park your trailer for a while or whatever, you got to go to Campland on the Bay. What is it? Campland.com. Real easy to remember. They got an online store. Support them. And I'm telling, it's not me trying to sell a beer. Okay, Kristen, this is what it really is. Okay. Right now, honestly, I mean, when 20,000 people from 4 different continents are watching, you know, some small ass little tribute band from Southern California, you know what I mean? And it's making them happy that far across the globe, you know what I mean? People really need this now more than ever. Honestly, I feel very strongly about this, that, you know, when things go crazy and sideways and nothing makes sense right now and nothing is the same, and who knows if it'll ever be the same, people need to attach some kind of normalcy. They got to grab something, some kind of, you know, anchor in the wind, you know what I mean? And in the hurricane. And I'm not trying to elevate us to any, like, we're helping humanity or whatever, but honestly, if what we're doing over here at the home studio, you know, it's necessary. And if we're able to, why not? You know, if I wasn't playing it, I would be seeking somebody else out that was playing, and I would be listening to it. You know, I'm listening to the other bands that are doing it and stuff. So, I mean, I think it's really important. And I'm not saying what we are important. I'm just saying that I feel it's urgent and necessary. So when somebody wants to support that and lend a hand in making it possible for us to do that, you know, I really appreciate that. And so I don't want people to get the wrong idea that we're like going to start wearing beer jerseys on the back, or, you know, like Rocky 2 or whatever, Rocky 1, where he started putting the butcher shop on the robe or whatever. It ain't like that, okay? I just appreciate the fact that Campland is helping us put this show on, you know? If I want those people to stay home. I want them to be safe and healthy so we can all rock out again together in person. And if we can do something to help that along and to give them a reason to stay home and help it not be so bad, so be it. Let's do it, you know? So we got to suit up and make up and get down in the studio. That's a pretty good problem to have, you know?
Yeah,
Vinny, what do you think?
What I like to say is, since they won't come to us, we'll come to them.
Amen, brother. Preach it.
Yeah, and look, you know, to the point you were making, Jason, you know, the fact was, I forget the exact day what it was, but that night that you guys did it, it was a very welcome distraction for me in particular. I was just like, this is great.
Me too.
So
honestly.
and I was glad to see it. And, you know, the fact that you were doing it again, I'm like, great. It's, I was hoping that we'd get another one, and obviously really looking forward to it. And I think it'll be fun to see. Now, obviously, Vinny, let me get your thoughts on this. At some point, there'll be the time to, you know, when shows start getting booked again. Now, one of these ideas that's floated is, and it's happened a little bit, is having bands perform at drive-ins, drive-in movie theater. Now, I went with my family to, there's a drive-in out in Pomona, and I took my wife and kids. We went. It was great. We didn't get out of the car. But you know, so how would you feel about, you know, look, I think a Kiss tribute band would be more entertaining than some to see at a drive-in, drive-through would be weird, drive-in. What do you think there would be limitations to it, or would you be willing to give it a try if you guys got booked to play at a drive-in?
Well, in my opinion, I think we got 2 shows going on right now. We've got a live show that people can see us live, take pictures with us, and, you know, touch us, that kind of stuff. And then we've got the virtual show. We've got the web show. that we should broadcast at the same time. I mean, to me, doing the two shows at once is reaching, you know, a bigger audience. Obviously, people in Mexico, Brazil, or, you know, the other countries, they can't come to the drive-in. So the drive-in's really for the home crowd that want to see us, but the web show is really for the rest of the world.
I agree, Vinny.
Yeah,
I agree. You know, in the words of David Lee Roth, it doesn't have to be either or. It could be in addition to. So, you know, you do the drive-in show, you know, where we're up on stage and it's got the whole lights and everything. And, you know, I have a feeling that they would, I mean, how do they show applause? Do they honk their horns? Or they smack the cars? What do they do?
So I thought about this. You know how, you know, obviously people used to hold up the cigarette lighters and then it turned into holding up your cell phone. Well, we can flash our lights if we like the song, you know, if like it, like when you come out to do Beth,
I'd
then we're all
like to
flash
have
our lights.
They reach out their hands and smack the sides of their cars. Like there's this concert venue in San Diego, downtown in the Bay. What is it? Shelter Island, I think, along the waterfront. It's called Humphreys by the Bay. And it's a really nice amphitheater type of a setting. And then there's some booths up at the top in the back. And then along the sides of the stage, the stage is literally on the edge of the water. So on the sides of the stage, the water kind of comes around a little bit. And from a bit of a distance, you can see the stage. So they have what they call the boat people that are living in Mission Bay. They have their small little, you know, canoe raft boats or whatever, right?
Oh, that's right.
They will take that off the main boat, paddle over to the side of the stage. The ones that live there and have berths in there, you know, they'll paddle over to the side stage, and literally, you should Google it up. It's called the Boat People of Humphreys, and they pack in like sardines, man. It's like totally packed in like sardines, and when they want to applaud, they smack their oars on the water. It's awesome.
It
Obviously,
really
that's not going to ever happen probably for years, but man, it was awesome.
No, I mean, it seems really cool. And look, that's sort of the point I wanted to make with the idea of the drive-in show. You know, look, a lot of people, when it was first floated, they'd be like, nah, I can't go to a show like that. But then when it gets into the point of, well, there are no other shows, would you like to maybe try it and see if you like it? I'm like, I think it'd be cool.
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
dude, I miss drive-in theater. You know, you know, the studio that we're at is part of this bed and breakfast I run down in Bonsall and stuff. But before I was you know, looking at this concept, we actually were like, well, one of the things that we would like to have, you know, if we had, I'm on the side of a hill, so it's really obviously not practical where I'm at. But if we had gotten a piece of property that had flat land and had enough acreage, what we were talking about doing was maybe having a private drive-in theater. You know, you have those big inflatable rentable screens, right? And then you could get the little broadcast unit that puts it out to 88.8 on your FM dial. And then everybody just tunes in on their car radio. Dude, that would be perfect, dude. We would play a drive-in concert in a heartbeat, dude. In a heartbeat.
Yeah, and I think it could be fun.
And broadcast it out to the world via Facebook Live at the same time. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, see, now all you need is a drive-in to book it at, and you know, I mean,
you need is a big flat piece of land that they can park on, man. We need Max Yasgur from upstate New York.
Yeah.
You know, we need the next Max Yasgur. I'm calling on somebody right now. If you have a couple of acres of flat land, go to facebook.com/kissalive or kissalive@gmail.com and say, I want to have that show here. And we'll rent a screen, we'll put it up on your property, and we'll have a live drive-in rock and roll concert with you.
Yeah, and look, I mean, to the point that, you know, you can kind of do wherever you want. I mean, I've been to a bunch of these here in Los Angeles.
That was pretty blatant, wasn't it?
Hey, look, that's what we're here for. You know, it's always be closing, as they say in Glengarry.
Shameless plugging.
ABC.
Yeah, the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles, they'll show movies in the summer. Yeah, and you know, just on the wall of a mausoleum. So all you need is a big wall.
No.
Wait, I bet you people are dying to get in there.
He'll be here all week, folks. Tip your waitress and try the veal.
I wanted to.
No, wait a second. I want to dial that back for a second. Are you saying that at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, they show movies on the side of the mausoleum, and the public can go and attend?
Yeah, I mean, and you pay for it, and they sell out, and sometimes.
I mean, clearly they're probably not doing that right now, but.
No. But
I would do that. That's rad.
It's fun. I mean, I've seen some cool stuff there. I saw Close Encounters there. One year on Halloween, they showed the original Halloween. They did Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and Paul Rubens was there. Exactly. So you could look. You just need to think a little bit outside the box for where you can do this.
Outside the box.
Yeah. So
way outside.
I think that the long-term future concerts performances will look kind of the way we remember, but short-term, I think it's going to need to require some more.
Dude, we just got to get creative, and I love that, dude. I love to see. Honestly, all right, this is really kind of the operating theory behind Kissed Alive too. You know, we relish in doing things that other tribute bands wouldn't do. We do a lot of conventions. We'll get our own booth at conventions, man. Not a lot of bands are doing that, and certainly not a lot of tribute bands are doing that, you know? But we do things like that, and man, it pays off because of the connections you make with people that might not go out to a club show because it's crazy with all the gnarliness that goes on at an actual concert. But to go to they feel safer going to a convention and just hanging with you like kind of one-on-one, things like that. It's not so intimidating, you know? So, I mean, we do things like that. The Rock and Roll Marathon in Las Vegas, you know, we've done that probably 7 years in a row. And when we played it, I think it was 2 years ago, it was the first major big outdoor event since they had that massacre out there at the Route 91 festival. We didn't take that lightly, you know? I mean, it's I don't know. It's a privilege, man.
It's still intense too. 3 years later, I mean, there's a lot of security there. They're uptight. They need some rock and roll.
That was fun. You remember having to tape the cars, man?
Yeah.
So here's the thing: when we were playing the Rock and Roll Marathon in Las Vegas, that year, the one that was right after the what happened in the tragedy, man, and that's, you know, obviously, all due respect to anybody that lost or suffered in any kind of way for that. I can't imagine even.
Yeah, I have a friend who I used to work with, used to be a regular on this very podcast. He works in country radio. He was there, and he talked to a lot about it. And you know, I
can only imagine.
Yeah, it's.
Wow. I'm not even going to try and pretend I know what that's like, man. I can only imagine. And my heart goes out to them fully.
Yeah, and I hope, I hope most of us never know what that's like. But
I'll tell you, when we were out there, obviously, playing the first major event out there, and on day one, they had a 5K, and it was in a pen, which was on the same grounds as where they had the American version of Rock in Rio. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And it was basically a very similar setup. You're in an enclosed field, enclosed by fences, and surrounded by high rise. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Vinny, I'm sure you remember we actually had the conversation of, all right, what do we do if?
Right.
Okay?
Yeah,
I don't even need to finish the sentence. What do we do if? So we decided we're on a metal stage. We're just going to duck under the stage. Yeah. You know, I mean, so it was, but when we were parking and our stage on day 2 in the main marathon, they closed the Las Vegas Strip, and they run the marathon down the strip, right? And so in the last several years, we've been fortunate enough to have our stage move from the sidewalk to right in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip, literally like right on the meridian, basically. And for the last couple of years, it's like on our left was Treasure Island, and on our right was the Palazzo, and here we are looking down towards downtown. It's pretty amazing with 40,000 runners going on both sides of us, and people like dressed up in Elvis costumes and stuff. So when we load in our stuff, we'll take our cars or like in my case, I have like the sign and all that stuff. So I have a trailer, gear trailer. We pull up next to the stage. It's all blocked off by then. We pull up next to the stage. We unload our stuff. And then most times we have to go and park all of our stuff, just no extra cars, just the people that are supposed to be there. And that's that. It's less of a security hassle, right? Well, this year, because of what had just happened, security was tight as not, that's an understatement. Everybody was on a razor's edge and keyed up. However, there was another part of it that I didn't expect. I knew going into it. We all talked about it beforehand. You'll remember, Vinny. The phrase was roll with it. Whatever happens, whatever they ask of us, if we're going to commit to do this show, we're going to do it on their terms, and we're going to do it how they need. We're not going to impose our will, and we're going to just, hey, however you need it to go down, we're just lucky to help you out and be a part of it. That's all, Right. So whatever we got to do, that's fine. So if we got to go and park our cars, that's fine. You know what I mean? So this year, they said you can leave the main gear trailer and the vehicle towing it, and it turned out to be the rest of our cars too.
Oh, my phone died.
Oh, his phone
went
died.
sideways. No, you're there. You just went sideways,
there.
buddy.
Yeah, that's weird that he just
pick it up and turn it. But what happened was when the vehicle that was left there, which was my car and the gear trailer, they said, here's some duct tape, some emergency red duct tape, the orange stripe kind.
Sure, yeah.
I had to put a big X on the top of my car, on the top of my Jeep Patriot, and I had to put a big X on the top of my trailer. And here's why. Because, I'm sure Vinny will catch up with us in a minute.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure he comes back.
So what happened was those X's, I asked why, because there's a lot of police around, and they were kind of circling around where we were at and stuff, where we first loaded in and parked on day one. And so we got in talking to them, and he says, on the top of most every tower of every hotel high-rise were snipers, right? There's all around everywhere. And so if the goes down and they have to start, okay, where's the bad guy? And we're going to shoot a car if it's moving on the strip, because there should be no car moving on the strip. Well, if you have a red X on your car, they know, don't shoot that vehicle. So I said, yes, I will put the red X on my car. I will put it on the trailer. I'll put it on Vinny if I have to. But yeah, no, it was, and I swear, I have never been, I get goosebumps every time the hair on the back of my neck goes up. I have never high-fived more people. There was never such a sense of purpose in not necessarily what we were doing, but we were, because we rose to the occasion with the people around us. But the runners, man, they were determined not to give in to fear. People were cheering more. They were more intentional and purposeful about it. And we literally all came together. When I said the police presence was heavy, that's an understatement. However, they weren't oppressive in the least. Everybody knew, give them their space, and in return, they gave us love the way they had to. They kept us safe, but they weren't, there was no they were heavy-handed about it or anything like that. They were, everybody there was inspiring, man. I will remember that day for the rest of my life, man. It was, at one point, there was a team of about 6 or 7, 8, maybe 10 people from across the world. They were a marathon team, and they would globetrot these marathons and raise money by doing dares that they would receive online in return for a donation to whatever charity they were trying to raise money for. You tracking with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, when they got to Vegas, they're like, hey, there's a KISS tribute band there. How much will you guys donate if we can get them to let us sing a song with them? Hey, Vinny's coming back. Cool. So they talked to us on break, and I said, well, you can't come on stage because it's a liability. We're not allowed to. But what they did instead, hey, Vinny, I'm telling them about the Vegas story with the running team from around the world. So they asked us if they could sing a song with us. We said, sure. I'll tell you what, the stage is right next to the Meridian, and we got permission. And so they all climbed up on the cement divider in the middle of Las Vegas Boulevard and all stood on it, right? While we were singing, I Was Made for Loving You. But we were on a break when they talked to us. And I said, well, what about if we paint some of your faces? And they said, yeah. So we went and got the makeup real quick. And one of the team put out an extra, hey, who will pay an extra $1,000 each if we paint our faces when we get up there with them. So they were able to raise a lot of money for whatever it was. And you had probably about 6 or 7 people, maybe more, all in a row on the cement meridian right next to our stage, dancing to I Was Made for Loving You in the middle of a closed down Las Vegas Boulevard with all the neon lights around us, 30,000 people running by. And there was this one guy, Vinny, you remember the Viking?
Yeah, the Viking guy. Yeah.
So there was this guy, they had all been done with their race, and they came back afterwards to ask us to do that, right? So they all had their medals on. And there was this one Viking guy, literally, I think he was from Germany.
I think so.
And he had a big red beard, okay? And he had a Viking helmet on with the horns, right?
Yeah.
He had no shirt on, and he had put on his jeans by that time, so he had kind of tight jeans. He had no shirt on, and he had that old, you remember the old Charles Atlas like ads and the old school building where they had that V shape to their back, right? This dude had that hardcore V shape to he was like cut, but like in an old school classic way, had no shirt on, had tattoos from his belt line to his neck, looked like a Viking with the red beard and the helmet, and he had a star painted on his face, and he's up on the wall dancing disco to I Was Made for Loving You with Kissed Alive. Man, that's surreal.
Yeah.
Surreal. I could never make that up. Those guys are awesome. It was for the German edition of Runner magazine. So look that up sometime. Kissed Alive, I Was Made for Loving You. And within about 3 or 4 of the clips, you'll probably find that one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, no, it sounds
great.
like obviously a very memorable and crazy event. And I feel like, when you start to, we're alluding to, the return of regular concerts, whenever that is, I think that's, it's going to almost be like every night's going to be, everybody's going to be so relieved to be out there.
I cannot wait for the first time we are able to play to a live crowd again.
Yeah. And, even when it's, if it is something that's a little bit non-traditional, like we were talking about drive-ins and stuff.
Bring it on.
It's weird to think back. It was like, I don't know, it was about three months ago, I think. I saw you guys. I talked to you a little bit beforehand, Jason. You guys were in Fullerton at the Sidebar, and that was
yes.
That was a 3 p.m. gig. So I was convinced that I was going to be able to bring my 4-year-old to that. And then he decided he would rather play with his grandparents because they have a sandbox and a pool. And I'm like, all right, I get it.
I would rather play in a sandbox and a pool too.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
I don't blame him.
Here's what he told me that day. He said next time. So the next time he's going to be able to come whenever that is.
What's his name?
Felix.
Okay, good.
Felix,
this
is going out to you, Felix. I guarantee you that we're going to play again, and I guarantee you we're going to try and play the Slide Bar in Fullerton. So next time, Felix, I'm going to make a deal with you. I want to see you at our show. And you got to bring a couple of your little friends. Okay? So, Mr. Felix, I want to see you at our next show. I guarantee you we're not going to let you down. We're going to find a way to play for you. So this time, no going off to the pool or playing in the sandbox. You come out and you rock and roll with your Uncle Kristen's friends.
That's right. And the Slide Bar would be the gig for one of the younger members of our audience.
Well, I mean,
it is. It's a fun place.
Yeah, in the afternoon.
And they got great food. I'll tell you what, they make some damn good chicken wings.
They had people packed in there. I've been to a few shows there. I've seen.
Were you at the one where it was, I think, one of our early lineups with our bass player, Rocco? What's up, Rocco? It was after the show, just as we were playing our last probably 4 or 5 songs. And who should show up at that bar outside on the patio? None other than the Worm himself, Mr. Soon-to-be ambassador to the United Nations for America, Mr. Dennis Rodman.
Wow.
With a guy who looked like his accountant or business manager or something, man, which was a big contrast. You got a guy in business attire, and then you got Dennis Rodman, with the tattoos and the whole thing. And, he was at that bar. It's sort of outside. You know the place. It's sort of outside, but it's sort of not. And he was smoking a cigar at the bar. Are you going to tell him not to? I'm not going to tell him not to.
I wouldn't tell Dennis Rodman not to do anything. You know.
No.
I mean,
And he was feeling good that day.
He was very gracious. He hung out afterwards and was telling stories with us and hung out and had a drink with us. And you know what, man? What's up, Dennis? You know what? I think most Dennises in celebrity world are pretty damn cool.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And I'm not just brown nosing Dennis Miller. I'm just saying.
One of the things, you referenced earlier, you referenced two things, Jason. One, you talked about how your band does some things that are different. And you also talked about the fact that you had a heart attack. And, obviously we're glad that you seem to be feeling well from that. But I know that when you first started doing shows again, you did something that I was very excited about.
I know what you're talking about.
You would take a little break and you would have somebody come out and you would have them come out in the Fox makeup. Which I'd never seen anybody in the Fox makeup. First of all, I loved Eric Carr just in general. I mean,
God bless him.
One of my favorite drummers.
Him. Yeah.
And Eric Singer's great. Peter Criss was good too. But
the first time I ever saw Kiss live in concert, Eric Carr was on drums, and it was a phenomenal concert, man. I was a big fan of that guy. From all accounts, the guy was a sweetheart. Yeah. I never met him, obviously, but I the first several concerts, because I saw the 85 concert, I saw the Crazy Nights concert in 88, and probably one more. And it was awesome, dude. That guy was a force of nature on drums, dude, and I got nothing but respect for him.
Yeah, and I love that Fox makeup too. And my friend Will that I mentioned before, not last year, but not this year, but last year when we saw Kiss at the Forum in LA, he painted up the Fox makeup just to to show it off a little bit. So that was
now
fun.
Tell him I want him to do that on Friday night.
He's going to be watching, so I'll see if I can encourage him.
I want him to post a photo. What's his name?
Will Sterling.
Will Sterling. I've seen. Yeah, I think we're friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
Will Sterling. I'm talking to you. I want to see you. I want to see a photo of you posted in the comments section of you in Eric Carr makeup. Let's give the Fox some love on Friday night. What do you say, man? Come on.
He's a good San Diego County boy. He's from Ramona. So
he's probably been to see us at the Ramona main stage.
Yeah.
Stage.
So
we recently played there. I think it was February, and we did. It was one of the first times I think I've ever seen a tribute band in general do it, but it was certainly the first for us. We did an evening with Kissed Alive. We were the only band that night. I think we did 2 sets, Vinny.
Yeah, we did 2 sets.
And took some photos with everybody in the middle.
Cool.
Absolutely. That was a good show.
What do you remember about that night, Vinny? It was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah. I remember that. It was, the 2 sets like that. That's kind of rare for us because you kind of get the momentum of the crowd. And we had to just get the momentum going, stop, take some photos, take a break, and then fire up the momentum again. We did it. For a second set.
I love it, man. I'll tell you what, when you play places that aren't population centers, I think they're more hungry for music, because they seem to be more appreciative and more, I didn't think there was that many people out there that would come to see that show. I honestly thought it would be, there would be less people in the crowd, not because they wouldn't like Kiss music, but I just didn't think because it's a rural town that many people. But man, they pour in, dude, and they come out to see you, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, look, as somebody who grew up in a rural town, it was 45 miles northwest of Manhattan, but when anything would come out close to you, and honestly, that show that I saw Kiss in 1990, that was at the county fair. It's also called Orange County, which is confusing, I know, but in Middletown, New York. And
I believe I used to live in Oceanside, California, and I believe there's an Oceanside, New York.
Yeah, and so but it's like bands that would play at our, it's like, oh, we don't have to go through the hassle of going into the city and the parking and all this. So when a band would come out, like those were always pretty big crowds. So I can see in Ramona people driving from all around, just to.
I think people can appreciate it, man, because look. It costs gas for people to come see us in a rural area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It costs gas for you to go to a show. And I'm not saying, and especially if you're going to come out to our little tribute show, man. We're not Kiss. We're just 4 fans of Kiss play music. You want to come out and party with us and drive that far? Dude, we are going to give you everything we have, So I think it elevates the energy on both sides of the stage. You know what I mean? I think the crowd is way more into it because, dude, if you're going to drive all the way out here to see us, we're going to show you the love in return. And when a crowd gets fired up, dude, man, then we get on autopilot. We can push off into that other zone, man. And Vinny hits these notes that only dogs can hear, dude.
Well, that reminds me of going even further east than that, Jason, back to I think it was a Speaking Rock Casino. We played there years back.
El Paso, Texas, Speaking Rock Casino.
Talk about people that in rural, I mean, that's a big city, but it's
not like Southern California where you have everything all the time, anytime you want. You can go to the beach and go skiing and go to an amusement park in the same day. You know, you go down to a southern state or somewhere where it's more, you know, like a little farther back from California. You know, I'm not saying they don't have a lot of rad things. I'm just saying maybe they don't have the overload of too many choices, you know? So
they like don't.
You know, so when you get somebody that's going to come out and make the effort to come see you, man, woo, El Paso, you guys are some crazy people. Dude, I remember the first time we played there, 4 years in a row or 3?
Yeah, 3.
3. We played 3 years in a row at Speaking Rock, and the first time we played there, we went over the room capacity. We broke the room record by 30 people. We, a little tribute band from Southern California, broke the room record at a casino in El Paso, Texas, man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We're blessed, dude.
I think that goes back to sort of what we were talking about before. It's the, you know, being being a good tribute band of, you know, a popular act is one thing, but it's specifically like when you're Kiss, you really, people can get much more excited about like, you know what, I'll go ahead and say it. Like I was thinking about this. The first time I saw you guys was actually 5 years ago. You played at St. Rock and Hermosa Beach.
Oh, yes.
You know, plenty to do out there. I think it was a Friday night, but that place was still packed too because
that was a lot of fun. St. Rock was fun. I remember that.
That's a great place. That's closest to my house.
Well,
I believe we had a good friend of mine a good friend of ours, filling in on bass that night because our bass player was out of town or something. And we had a real good friend named Sammy Burke was filling in on bass that night. And I think that there's like 2 clips. There's 2 songs on video with Sammy on there, somewhere out in existence. Dr. Love and something else. I don't remember what it is, but somewhere out there. It's pretty cool, man. The guy did great.
Yeah, you know, I think you explained that to me after the fact because I do remember that he had these binders with like all the lyrics and, you know, like notes and stuff. And I was just like, all right, I guess.
And he didn't have a costume. So we got creative that night on a lot of different fronts. And I'll tell you what, man, it's a credit to, you know, the team spirit that we have that, you know, we just all dug in and go, you know what, we got you, bro. Let's do this. You want to do it? We'll do it. Let's do it.
Well,
and obviously, I think because we don't go out there saying we're going to be perfect. We're go out there and we're going to rock and look what we can do. We're going out there just going, hey, let's party. You guys want to party with us? Let's all party together. Hey, let's play some Kiss music. You want to hear some Kiss? We got you covered, you know? And that's all it is. We just share in the experience. We don't try to elevate ourselves just because we're on stage, you know? And I think that's where a lot of tribute bands and a lot of bands in general get it wrong, dude. Life is short. And if you're lucky enough to get up on a stage and somebody wants to pay to see you play, dude, enjoy every minute of it and give it 110%. It's an oasis of energy, man. It's amazing, and it's not to be taken for granted, you know, on any way, shape, or form.
Well, to that point about it being a team effort, you know, what we were talking about before, talk about the idea of, you know, when you did come back, it's like, all right, well, let's have Jason take off a few songs, and having somebody come in as the Fox and playing, I believe he would play, I don't know, I think he definitely played songs from Creatures of the Night. He played Eric Carr songs. That's what I thought was the cool touch too. So talk about that idea and who the mysterious Fox was.
All right, well, here's the deal. You know, I believe, Vinny, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I brought it to the table. But obviously, there was a lot of things that went into that, and we all had to discuss it because obviously, first and foremost, the guys were concerned for my health, and nobody wants to go on stage and see your buddy die, and I can't imagine being any of the guys that I was playing with that night. It was Vinny, our guitar player, Dave Towns, and our
Phil Varela, I think.
Phil Varela. I can't imagine being on stage and then being in the back room, in the green room, and watching your buddy having a heart attack on the floor, man. That's got to suck, And so, in a way, so when we, obviously, I don't want to risk my health either. I have a wife who I love, and I have a son who is like the center of the universe in this family, and I don't want my kid growing up without a dad, because his dad was a selfish dick and wanted to keep playing when he shouldn't, So I talked to my doctor, and I made sure that before I ever got back on stage, I wanted to make sure I got a green light from my doctor. And so, this was a way where I could do it and still try to add a few safeguards and be safe about it. I had a buddy of mine, actually there's a couple of friends of mine who was talking to about it, but they were good friends of mine and they knew the band, and Vinny's known them and they've come to see us play and stuff. And, we started talking about it, and I figured, well, that's a good way for me to get a break. We had a couple of breaks designed in the show already organically. Okay. You've got the guitar solo, drummer's not playing in that. And usually when we are able to, we do it old school. When somebody's like, if, Vinny's doing something vocally, like when he does the Star Spangled Banner sometimes or whatever, we're not talking during it. You know what I mean? We fade out into the background, or like when the guitar solo is going on, we're off stage, So you got the guitar solo, you got, maybe the fire or the blood thing or whatever. There's a couple of different moments, where I get a break. You know what I mean? And then Beth is sort of a break because I'm not playing drums and singing at the same time, so it's less physical, right? But I wanted a real break. I needed to make sure that I could do this, but I didn't want to go out there and go, hey guys, for the first 6 months, let's just play 45-minute show. Dude, I'm not gonna do that. Dude, I'm not even interested in that, man. I want to play a show, dude. 45 minutes, I'm still ready to go. I come from the old school where you do bar gigs, you auger in at 9 o'clock in the evening, and you don't come up for air till 1:30, okay? And you're only taking maybe 10-minute breaks, long enough to go to the bar and re-up on your drinks, and then you get back on stage, So, at 45 minutes, I don't want to cheat people. So when we come out, I wanted them to be able to get a full show. But what can we do to bring something to the table and make it cool for people, but do it in a safe way for me? And so I'm not risking my health, and I'm not, spoiling it for my buddies who got to see their friend die on stage, So I thought, okay, well, what's something that's never been done, Sorry, my hair is flying everywhere. It's ridiculous out here. I live out in the countryside out here in Bonsall, California, and the air gets a little dry sometimes. So I wanted a break, and I thought, well, let's do that. Dude, I would love to see that, man. As a fan of Kiss, dude, how rad would it have been to see the guys like it? I was really hoping Vinny could have done something with his comeback and maybe gotten into a position to where before Kiss went out, maybe you'll see him on stage, man. Or in it's a pipe dream. I mean, clearly it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but, Vinny Vincent. You mean Vinny
Vincent? Not you, Vinny, but Vinny Vincent.
Vinny Vincent. I'm sorry.
Vincent.
No, I want to see my Vinny on stage with Kiss. I think it should happen.
Yeah, I think
the high notes.
I think your Vinny should start doing meet and greets for $5,000 and see how it goes. Because if
nice, I think my Vinny would agree with you.
Sure, absolutely. I'm the Gene of the band.
Vinny is the Gene Simmons of this band, dude. He's the marketing magnet machine, dude. He's awesome.
You can sell people a boxed set that you never actually deliver, and you just keep their money. So really, great business model from Vincent. So yeah, look,
along with the guitar,
I thought that was great to have a Fox in there.
Seriously, honestly, we wanted to engineer breaks. So what I thought was, why don't we bring up first of all, it had to be somebody that we could trust, because honestly, even in tribute band world, there's a lot of competition. And if you
Yeah.
If the sharks smell blood, they'll devour you in a heartbeat. Honestly, and I know that sounds pompous and like ridiculous coming from a guy who's 50 years old and plays in a freaking tribute band. But what you don't know is it's hard work getting those casino gigs and stuff because those guys are big business. So you have to be on your money. And a lot of people want those gigs. And when you get those kind of gigs, when you're playing 3 nights in a row on Fremont Street to 2,000-3,000 people a night in an open square, the other bands in that town, they're going to be upset, you know? So it's
the locals.
Yeah.
So to have somebody come on and come into what we're doing and play drums, dude, I'm very insecure about that because I don't want somebody coming in and trying to steal my job. I like my guys. I want to be in my band, you know? So it's got to be somebody you could trust. So I had a good friend of mine. His name is Scott McDowell. Okay?
Oh, yeah, Scotty.
He's out of San Marcos, California, I believe is where they live now. And he's a really good friend of mine, you know, and he was a good friend of the band. And I put the idea to the guys. I asked Vinny and I asked the rest of the guys. And I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we bring him out, dress him up like Eric Carr? Honestly, the idea really, I should backtrack and say it started about 2 or 3 years before that when we had a bass player named Rocco Fonzarelli. And Rocco and the guitar player at the time, Randy Anthony, Randy Rowe, I think. They had this friend named Nico Taylor. He plays the lead singer now in a Ghost tribute called Ghost AD. And if you were at that show in Anaheim at the House of Blues, I think you saw him join us on stage.
I do remember that, yes.
And at the he did it once at the Slide Bar too, though I don't know if it's the show you saw or not. But so he actually it was actually you know what? All credit where it's due. This idea probably started. The seed was planted by Rocco, our old bass player, because it was his idea. Hey, what if we had Nico dress up as Eric Carr and come down and play a couple tunes? And so we did that a couple times. And then we shelved the idea, and it never happened for a while because we didn't want to turn into a gimmick, you know. But so I don't know if maybe that was in my head, you know, and that's where the seed came from. But so I talked to the guys and I said, why don't we bring Scott out? We suit him up like, you know, and so I talked to Scott.
Yeah.
I said, would you be interested? And, you know, lucky enough, he was into the idea from the get-go. And he was basically like, dude, whatever, I'm ride or die for you, man, whatever it takes, man. If you want me to do that, I'm there for you. And so he came out. I believe he rehearsed with us once. And we went and did the show. And, yeah, he played some Eric Carr stuff. I figured it would only make sense. So I believe he played War Machine and Lick It Up. And then he came back out and grabbed my microphone and played Cowbell for the encore of Rock and Roll All Night.
Right.
In fact, that's the video I was watching right before I did this podcast, Christian. It was from that Anaheim House of Blues show. Yeah. It was the finale. It was a clip put out by our agent, Mr. Landon Gale George from Covert Agency. What's up, Landon? Love you, man. Landon. And so he was taping the show, and that's what I was watching was the video of that. Man, the crowd was awesome that night, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, that was a great crowd, and that was the beauty was you know, because there was a Maiden tribute, and was there also Guns N' Roses? I
yes.
Think, yeah.
Yes.
So when you're in the restaurant part, you know, those of us that had the KISS shirts on, we kind of congregated. We none of us knew each other, but it's like, oh, well, we're going to be able to speak the same language. So I met some cool people. We talked.
Ooh, KISS. Hey, KISS.
Oh, yeah, that's all it was. And then it's like, oh, those are the Maiden people. Nothing against Maiden, but we're not going to. It
just got very tribal very fast.
Yeah. So it's like, we'll let them talk. You know, that's fine. That's their thing. That was a fun gig too. And yeah, that was weird because right up until I think I was actually driving there, I thought that the House of Blues was still at Downtown Disney, and then I realized
they moved it.
But that new spot was great. One of the things I wanted to ask you specifically, Vinny, is by being the star child in the band, that means that you not only have to sing like Paul Stanley, but you also get to do the stage raps like you know.
You people want a little bit of rock and roll
pneumonia, you know, all that stuff.
That kind of stuff.
Now, what goes into choosing which ones you're gonna do? Like, you're just like, okay, so this one from Kiss Alive or from Kiss Alive, people want to hear that, or you know, do you have like go-to ones like, well, I want to work this one in anytime I play? Well, like Dr. Love, like Rock and Roll Pneumonia, you got to call out the doctor.
Well, I think it depends on the crowd, because I always bounce off the crowd, and it's all about the audience. Whatever the audience wants, if they're getting rowdy, then we kind of have to get rowdy back because they want to be entertained. So really depends, number one, on the crowd. The second thing is, if you do something and it doesn't work quite right, then you quickly have to adjust to do something else to overwhelm the audience, that is, a little bit better than that flop that just happened. So it really depends on the audience. And it's all about the audience, because without them, there is no show. That's the number one thing. And number two, if you're trying to synergize, because that's what it's all about. It's about the band playing and then the audience reacting. It's a synergistic, almost a spiritual thing that's going.
Preach it, brother. Preach it.
Amen. It's all together. We're all like raving together, and it's awesome, and it's positive and upbeat, and you sweat. And let me just throw this in: nobody slams like Jason Lee as the cat on drums, because we've played with several drummers, like we just talked about, sure, and nobody slams like this guy does. So
I play it like it's the last day of my. Whoa, nope.
No. No, but you know, a line from to bring back my boss Dennis Miller. I forget where I first heard him say this, but he beat those drums like they owed him money.
Nice, I love it.
So
all right, drums like I owed him money, babe.
Yeah, but back to what is maybe the hardest Paul Stanley vocal to try to recreate? Like, there's an era in his career where, like, you know, like in the 80s, sort of some of the tours we're talking about, where it's like, I don't even know what he was thinking. It's almost like he used up some of his vocal range in like 1988 by just
like Crazy Nights, man. Woo.
Crazy Nights, and sort of that opening to Heaven's on Fire, that, you know, not the way it is on the record, the way you would do it live. It's just like, all right, you're showing off now, but, you know, and now that he's like almost 70, he's like, oh, maybe I should have saved some of that. So is there one that you're like, okay, I gotta really pace myself? Or is it sort of like how, you know, the Beatles used to always do Twist and Shout last, because John Lennon would throw out his voice on there? So is there something where it's like, I have to do this before a Gene song or before Beth or before I break? Is there something that you think of like, this is a hard one, I gotta save it for the right spot in the set?
That's a good question. I think for me, the longer that we perform, the more warmed up I get.
Sure.
So I would say that the biggest thing for me is I got to make sure we don't do too many of those vocal acrobats in a row, you know, like 3 in a row kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
I got to stay away from that. As long as I can pace it, you know, 1 me and 1 Gene, you know, if you pace it like that, or 2 me, 1 Gene, or 2 me, 2 Gene, you know, you got to space it.
Yeah, throw a Shock Me in there, maybe, you know.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Because some of those songs, you know, are very there's some stuff in there that I don't even know
like
what I'm doing.
Songs that I can't imagine you guys doing, but like what is it? Fight Hell to Hold You. There's like ones where he hits these notes.
I was thinking of that same song, actually.
Yeah, it's really like all of Crazy Nights, where you're just like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess he was just trying to, you know, be competitive in that era, and he's like, look, I can Ronnie James Dio just as well as Ronnie James Dio can. You know?
Right. And
he had it, man. He could nail those notes.
I think, you know, just for the record, I think Paul Stanley is probably underrated as a vocalist. I would say. I think he is. If
he doesn't get the credit that's due.
Yeah, if not the greatest rock and roll vocalist, he is absolutely top 3 in my book.
Yeah,
I mean, he's awesome. To listen to some of those recordings, the first thing I said to myself is, "Dang, can I do that? That's friggin' awesome."
Yeah.
I mean, just awesome, some of the stuff he does. And to be honest, when we're executing it, we're so into the audience that I got to look at the tape afterwards. Did I hit that right?
Yeah.
Because
You know what?
I'm
And
not
I got to
sure.
say something here. I got to interrupt. Vinny is like, it's hard to, if you look at it as a Kiss fan back like in Paul Stanley's singing style, it evolved. There was the early kind of more bluesy or swagger kind of a, do you feel robbed? That kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the 80s stuff where, like you say, it was very acrobatic, the Steve Perry syndrome, well, I can hit that, I can hit a higher note, I can hit a higher note,
Yeah.
And so it was driving it that way, And then when he came back in like the 90s with like Revenge, starting there and moving into, Psycho Circus and stuff where it was more of a warmer, like, when Page and Plant came out and Plant had his lower tone and it was more warmer. So there's like 3 or 4 different eras to his voice. So being able to be in a tribute band and cover those different eras of his voice and not make it sound like one era of Paul Stanley, like this is how Paul Stanley sang those songs here. No.
Right.
Vinny sings those songs. When he sings the early songs, it sounds like early Paul. When he sings the later songs, it sounds like later Paul. And that's hard work. That's a lot of hard work. And I got to give him credit,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I got to bring it back. The audience, they don't care. They just want to hear it. They want those songs.
They want to rock and they want to do it with us.
That's right. They want
Just don't suck.
There are certain songs that we have to do. Otherwise, they're not having a good time.
Yeah, and look, it's also if you're gonna do a song and you don't do it the way people expect to hear it, that's disappointing. I mean, look, that's the case with actual performers.
Especially when you're playing iconic music.
Yeah, when I went, when I saw the Police on the reunion tour and they did Roxanne, and Sting didn't hit that Roxanne note even once. He didn't go anywhere near.
I saw that about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I saw that whole concert, man. Roxanne.
Yeah. It's like if like Wayne Newton decided to do a Police review, it's just they just changed the.
You said that. I didn't say that.
You didn't say it. I did, and I was just like, it was like the Vegas Lounge Police. And I think my thought was like, well, at least Elvis Costello opened,
Right.
But to be fair, it was cool to see the Police, but I was just like, oh man, they don't. And look, Paul has to make adjustments to the way he sings now. A lot of guys.
What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
Exactly. But so I always think it's great though, and I love Paul's voice, and like I said, I love the stage raps just as much. I mean,
me too.
You were talking about
and what we just the way we play the music. Honestly, when you come to the shows, and you know this because you've seen us play, we play it like we mean it, and we play it a little faster than the studio versions. Which when they were young and hungry, that's how they played, man. It was at warp speed, man, and we're gonna just pummel you with this rock and roll madness, dude.
Absolutely.
They played it a little faster. Well, they had more of a sense of urgency. And, dude, I play it like it's my, literally like it's the last time we're ever going to get to do it, man. We play it like we mean it. So we purposely play it a little faster than it would normally be. We purposely do that because I think it gives it a sense of drive.
It's energy. It's total energy that way.
Yeah, for me, for the actual band, for Kiss, that I think my favorite recording of theirs is the Animalized Live Uncensored, which was an MTV concert in Detroit.
I was just gonna say
they played everything so fast. Eric Carr is just destroying the drums, and it's just like you feel like they play like Detroit Rock City in like 90 seconds because they play it so fast.
I guarantee you, I know what Vinny's thinking and Vinny knows what's in my brain right now. What we've just been up to about a week or two ago that you don't know about yet, man.
Well, that is a great way to bring it back to Friday when you guys will be streaming live, and that's on Facebook, right? I mean, that's
Facebook.
where
it's going to be streaming live on Facebook. It's going to start 7:30 p.m. out here in California time. Yep. It's going to be on Facebook Live. The website is Facebook.com/KissedAlive. That's KISSED alive, because as Vinny says, you're not truly alive until, Vinny, you've been kissed alive. No, it's Facebook.com/KissedAlive, and we'll have it going live around 7:30 Pacific time. It's from the studio here at Villa Bonso, and it's we've got some tricks up our sleeve and stuff, But what we've been we I don't know if it's coming out or not, but well, can we let the cat out of the bag just a little bit, Vinny?
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, as you can see, I am in a recording studio.
Yes.
Okay, and we behind me. Let's see. There's a bass cabinet. Let's see.
Yeah.
I think we got, what is that? Marshall over there? Is that some Marshall action going on? Oh, there's another Marshall right there. There's some Marshall right there, dude.
Yeah.
So, and do you see all around them are these things? What are these things right here? There's a microphone, right?
Yeah.
So all around everything here in this recording studio is microphones. So that would lead one to believe that possibly Kissed Alive is recording things.
We're going to hit the record button.
And I will tell you about one song in particular that we're working on that I cannot wait till it comes out. We are working on a version of War Machine, and we literally pulled the tempo from the exact show you just mentioned. I had to campaign for that too, because not everybody agreed that it should be Mach speed on that, warp speed. But I had to sell it, and I did a pretty good job selling it, and I did. And so we play. That's my favorite version of that song, dude. It's
absolutely
twice as fast as the original. Although the original, when you hear it, it's like John Bonham playing for Kiss, man. It's amazing. But and it was perfect. But dude, it was almost thrash metal, dude. They were just like, dude. So that's what we modeled it after. That very show, dude.
Yeah, and I think I think that's Bruce Kulick's first full show. Like, I think he did half a show before that, and you're just like,
really? I didn't know that. Are you serious?
I'm pretty
sure. He played it like he had been playing it his entire life.
Right, exactly. And
Bruce, you rule.
They're all so tight, and everything's so great in that show, and I just love how fast they play it. So the idea that is even an inspiration for anything is, of course, very exciting. As is the whole thing that you guys are doing on Friday, as we mentioned, the 22nd.
I don't want people to forget, though, that it wasn't just us. We got a partner in this, man.
Yes.
We were supposed to play that night at Camp Land on the Bay, and we can't, obviously. So they got involved, and they are helping us. So I really can't underestimate. I don't want to sit here and sound like I tell you, these people are helping us put this show on, and when 20,000 people want to sit there and watch us play, these guys are like, dude, we're going to help you do that. And they have. So, let's show them the love, people. If you like what we did, if what we're doing in the studio is cool and you like what we're doing, go and thank them, because they made it possible for us to do this. So, campland.com is their website. I'm sure they got some merch, buy a Campland t-shirt until you can go and camp there. And when you can camp in Southern California, go there. I got to tell you, the night, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about the night that I had my heart attack on stage. It was at Camp Land on the Bay, okay? And there was probably maybe 1,000 people all out on the lawn.
Yeah.
In the back, it's literally on the edge of Mission Bay. It's on the edge of a bay in California. So there's water just beyond the stage. And then beyond that is behind you, you're seeing the fireworks of SeaWorld, California. You've got people in bicycles, and they've got glow sticks on the wheels. So you've got this, it's almost like being in the middle of the electric light parade at Disneyland. Because when they're driving their bicycles in the background on the trail by the water's edge, you see these little neon wheels going like this, and they're all waving those big inflatable glow sticks. And here I am starting to, it's starting to happen. You know what I mean? It was the most it's a crazy thing, man. And these guys took such good care of me, man. They were, you know, they got people to help me quick. They took care of me. They cleared the way so that I could get out to the gate. And I remember when I got on the ambulance, they were taking me away. You know, what I remember when they opened the backstage door to put me on the gurney, I remember hundreds of people outside our dressing room door, because, you know, by then word had spread about what was going on. And so they were all worried about it and stuff. And so I remember when the ambulance left, I remember people like smacking the side of the ambulance and just shouting like, "I love you," you know, and we're with you, and you're, you know, it's like, I mean, just showing love, man. And their staff made sure everything was cool, and they've been nothing but kind since, man. Those guys are awesome, dude. And we'll play there forever, dude. Those guys are awesome. And the fact that they would come and help us and get involved and say, "We're going to help you play that show," man. Those guys are awesome. And I got a lot of love for them. Their staff out there is one of a kind, dude. So I can't say it enough, and I'll shout it from the rooftops. If you like what we're doing on Friday night, you go and visit Campland and tell them thank you when you're in California, man, because those guys are cool.
Totally. Well put.
Oh, yeah. Did you know we got a couple of new guys in the band, Mr. Christian?
I think that you had mentioned that when we were trading messages, and the last time I really sat down and recorded anything was 2 years ago at that Ontario Comic Con Revolution, whatever.
Right.
And there's some different guys in the band now, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We've got
on lead guitar, we have Mr. Casey Trask, aka what is it? Case Fraley. Yes, baby. Case Fraley. Who is a man who has probably, like, I think he's in like probably 20 bands at this point. He's in like 3 or 4 bands. Amazing, world-class guitar player. He's in a San Diego metal band called Cage. They're amazing. They've been flying the heavy metal flag for like, I don't know, maybe 2 decades, close to it, 15, 20 years. Then he's in a band with our other new guy, Mr. Matt Smith. And Mr. Matt Smith plays in, let's see, he's in a band with Casey called Monarch. Okay, they're a local metal band. And then Casey is also in a band, I don't know if you've heard of the band called the Three Tremors, and loosely based on the concept of the three tenors in opera, right? But they're metal, and they shake the foundation of the earth, so they cause tremors.
They're shreddable.
And they have 3 lead singers, because it's the Three Tremors, right? And let's see, they have, his name escapes me, but the guy that sings for a band called Jag Panzer, right? They have Sean Peck, the guy that sings for Cage. And then they have Ripper Owens, the guy who sang for Judas Priest when Halford was not in the band. And did you know, he's the guy that they made the movie Rockstar with Marky Mark about.
That Rockstar movie was supposed to be his story, and then Judas Priest,
the metal god, said, "You can't use my name.
You can't use our name. You can't use our music. You can't use anything."
Wasn't that the original title of the movie, The Metal God?
Yeah, you know what? I actually don't know. That would make sense if
I
it was.
believe that was the working title of the movie. It was supposed to be called The Metal God. And Rob said no.
Yeah, and it's I mean, and look, that's a fun movie. I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theaters, but the idea
they've got this band called the Three Tremors, and Casey plays lead guitar for those guys. Which actually does a lot to explain why we get people watching us from different continents, because they're Casey Trask fans.
That's right.
But now they're Kiss Alive fans.
Right, exactly.
No, they're not. They're Kiss fans.
Well, but look, hey, that includes that all falls under the umbrella of being a Kiss fan, is checking out that show, because that's how I found you guys in the first place, because of that show at St. Rock, and I got in touch with you about that.
I remember that show very well, and I remember meeting you. That was a fun night.
That was great. So, and I'm looking forward to look since we're not going anywhere like that. You guys will all be on stage.
Come to you.
Clearly, a very safe distance apart from one another, as you were the last time. So,
for sure, yeah, at least 6 feet.
Yeah.
Get in the car, baby. Kissed Alive is coming to town.
But hopefully before
www.facebook.com/KissedAlive, Friday night, 7:30 Pacific time, you are going to get 3 sets of Kiss. Oh, did I mention? It's not just going to be 90 minutes worth of music, Mr. Christian. We're going to play 3 sets that night, and set 2 is going to be an unplugged set. So we're going to play some rock and roll plugged-in style. Then we're going to get some unplugged stuff like we do on the TV news shows. And then we're going to come back and blow the roof off the place.
I love it. Right. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of the Kiss Unplugged album. I thought it was great. There's some
genius. I love them opening up with Coming Home.
Yeah, some great versions. And I've seen them at the San Manuel Casino. They did a couple of acoustic shows, and both of them started with
Kiss.
Yeah.
We've played San Manuel.
Yeah, well, that's fun. Yeah, but I saw them do acoustic shows there. Yeah. It was back for like the minute that they owned an arena football team. It was like tied into that because it was a sponsor. And
I'll tell you one funny one night where we kind of like the streams crossed just a little bit. We were playing at an awesome casino out in Indio called Spotlight 29. And they had this proper showroom out there. It was real rad. And they ran billboards and stuff. And I was going out the night before to hook up with our guitar player and stay in the suite that he had rented nearby because he had a 2-bedroom suite. Whatever, it must be nice, right?
Yeah.
So he said, hey, man, you want to come out and kick it with me, man? I got a jacuzzi and whatever. And he literally had a jacuzzi on the patio of his suite. And from the front desk, when I arrived, they had to take me there on a golf cart. Okay, it's nice. So I went out there, and I'm driving across the desert, the Indio Desert, like Coachella Valley and all that stuff. And I'm driving across the desert on the 10 freeway at night, and it's real, just perfect weather for driving across the desert at night, And there's a series of billboards out there. Well, we were hired to play that casino because the very next night, Kiss was playing at a nearby casino the very next night. And so these guys thought, well, people are going to be staying in town. They're going to be at our casino anyways, probably staying at the hotel. Let's give them a party beforehand, and let's hire a Kiss tribute, right? That's not the only time that's happened, too. So I'm driving across the 10 desert, and I see a Kiss billboard, for the casino that they're the big, huge billboard, Kiss coming, and there's Kiss. And then 5 minutes later, I came across a billboard for our show at, it was an electronic billboard, and it was changing. But right as I started to drive by, I saw ours just before it changed. We were on there. So I literally pulled over, not on the outside shoulder like a rational human being. I pulled over on the inside shoulder by the meridian of the 10 freeway, and I waited with my camera till it came back around again, trying to take a picture. But it wouldn't. Every time it would get close and it would go on there, the autofocus happens.
Oh, of course.
It's like trying to take a picture of the sun. It goes negative. So it screwed it up. And so I waited for 3 times. I've got people honking at me as they go by. Dude, what's the matter with you, man? I'm like, you don't understand, man. I've never had a billboard before. What's the matter with these people? Don't they get it? Oh, God. What can I say, right? But it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. So seeing our billboard and the Kiss billboard in the same 5-mile stretch of freeway was kind of fun. And not for nothing, they have a billboard on the side of their building that's like a banner. It's like a vinyl banner, but it's the size of a full-on billboard, which is like the half of a roof of a small house,
Yeah.
And, I got it in my mind, what are they going to do with it? They're going to throw it away. No one's going to keep it. It's not like Kiss. It's just some tribute band. Yeah. No one's going to want that. So I asked them, can I have it? And they said, yeah, you can have it. Show up 2 weeks afterwards. You got to drive back out here and get it. So 2 weeks after the show, I drove back out there, and the nice folks at Spotlight Casino gave me that billboard.
Wow.
And then the next time we played Campland to bring it back around to Campland on the Bay. The next time we played Campland, we put that billboard up on the front of the stage as a drop curtain. So when we opened to Psycho Circus, we had that all over the front of the stage. And then as we started the show, it drops down and boom, here's us clowns.
Well, that's got to be great. I can't imagine storing a billboard that large, but it looks like I'm sure you've got the space.
Up.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
why I had to come out here to Villa Bonsall, man. I needed a couple of acres of room so I could store my Kiss toys.
Well, I want to thank both of you for staying up late and talking Kiss and specifically Kissed Alive. Very excited for Friday, the 22nd at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And look, if people miss it live, just like last time, they can find it after the fact. So
That's right.
It'll still be there, but hopefully everybody can be there and join in the chat. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys that night, and hopefully before too long we'll get to chat before a show when whether it's the drive-in show we're talking about or maybe back at the Slide Bar in Fullerton. Who knows when the next time will be. But I appreciate it. And obviously people can follow Kissed Alive. You said facebook.com/Kissed Alive. I know it's at Kissed Alive on Twitter. So they can and KissedAlive.com unless I'm mistaken.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's right on. You got it.
If they want to email us, they can email us at kissedalive@gmail.com. They'll just Google it, baby. Put those digits in and Google me, man, and just find the band. And we want to talk to you guys. We will, we're going to be grabbing sponsors for our next series of shows. So if anyone else wants to get involved, send us a message, man. We're going to come out and play, dude. We are going to continue to play rock and roll. It's important, man. People want to hear you play. So you know what? If people want to hear us play, we're going to bring it out.
Well, I hope that there are live shows again soon, like I said. But if you're doing another one of these at some point before too long, I'd like to put the bug in your ear now that I'd like to hear The Oath, the first song from Music from the Elder. So
The Oath, really?
Well,
okay.
Yeah, the Oath. Well, I's great too. I'm either one of those is fine.
World Without Heroes.
Great. Yeah, that could work its way into an acoustic set. But
only if we get to wear the capes, man. I'm lobbying for the next costume change to be the capes, man.
Well then, but then but if you're gonna do with the Elder outfits, then Vinny, you're gonna have to have sort of that weird like short hair wig for Paul.
You have the bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll work it out.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll work all that out.
Kind of a throw, a little small,
little bit. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember The Greatest American Hero? That's kind of what he.
Yeah, a little throw, huh? Okay, we'll work on it.
All right.
Well, Vinny's Italian. He could probably get a little curly hair going.
Well, thanks again to Jason and
Great
Vinny.
Talking to you, man.
Please check out the show Friday night, and we look forward to checking it out. And we will talk to all of you next time on the Bladtcast.